pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, we've got the agenda ahead of us. We've got item number 3. They are tabled today due to weather conditions. With that, is there any other additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, we need a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we've got the minutes from last week. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Meeting's read well. I'll move to approve them as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Any-
Will Mark propose a substitute date?
Well, Mark, I
Next
offered them
Monday.
next Monday,
Next Monday?
and
Okay.
I haven't heard back from them yet.
Okay, thank you.
Any sign of Mike out there?
No.
Okay, we're waiting on item number 1. While we're waiting there, we'll go down to item number 2, is Region 12 fiscal year 19 funding. Tom and Rick, welcome.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Tom.
Here, Dean.
Oh, there's
Something else. There we go.
That's for the transit side.
Okay, thank you. The first thing I handed out was the letter that I sent to Courtney. I don't know if you have copies of it or not, but in here, it breaks down the 5 different pieces for our request for FY19. The first paragraph is the Region 12 dues. Those are based on the 2080 agreement and are to 86 cents per capita for FY19. That's up a penny, so about $200 over what FY18 is. Western Iowa Transit, we have in the past requested 48 cents per capita and have requested that for quite some time. It gets adjusted at the census across the 6 counties, so the total that we asked for was always level and has been that way for probably 15, 20 years. And so given that operations are going up, we are asking for an additional 2 cents per capita from each of the counties. For Hugh, that would be about just over $400 increase for FY19 over FY18. The third piece, also a requested increase. That 5 cents per mile is what you have been paying. We're requesting 6 cents per mile. That goes into our capital match account. We use that to match federal grants to purchase vehicles. That I don't think has probably increased for 30 years, perhaps. It's always been 5 cents per mile. This last year, we zeroed out our accounts as we were purchasing vehicles. As you can imagine, the cost to purchase buses, vans has increased. Even though we've bought different pieces of equipment, we've gone to buying minivans, MV1s. MV1s are just as expensive as our buses were 15, 20 years ago. So we need additional match. In addition, some of the contract services we do, we are building in capital pieces to those contracts as well. But at 6 cents per mile, I'm not sure what that increase is over this year. I did have what our estimate was, but I neglected to bring that piece of paper, but I'm guessing it is a few $100. Do you know, Tom?
Yeah, actually, based on the mileage we put on last year, it'd be about $440.
How much?
440, and we bill it quarterly, so 110 a quarter, roughly.
And we estimate that off of our last complete year. So Tom's talking about what our mileage was in FY17, if that's what the mileage is in FY19, and it fluctuates up or down depending on use. And that would just be for those miles that we attribute to Carroll County General Public. So it would not include any of our contract services. It doesn't include New Hope, it doesn't include day halves, it doesn't include Medicaid, it doesn't include any of the school contracts. It's only the general public service, which are primarily elderly and persons with disabilities. Piece number 4 is the Housing Trust Fund. That is at $5,000. That would be a level request as to what it is in FY18. And then that last one is $21,000 for the revolving loan fund. It did get funded this summer, so that is a total. We have a $500,000 loan from USDA. All 6 counties put into that fund, so the $121,000 is a total capital additional base of $626,000. We've already put out offers for $250,000 out of that fund. I do have one county that has budgeted for it in this current year and had sent that note to you guys. If there's something in the budget and you prefer to pay it out of this year, it's fine, but you can also wait until FY19, so that's why it's in this letter. So the total is, and this is exclusive of that $21,000, is $54,309.76 plus that 6 cents per capita match. So total is in the neighborhood of $58,000. With the revolving loan fund money, it's closer to $79,000. Tom also passed out a sheet.
This is informational, basically to show you how we're set up in Carroll County. I just provided just some basic information on our fleet, how we're set up with employees, and some statistical information there on the bottom. You'll see that we have a lot of vehicles stationed in Carroll. It is our largest storage facility. All of those 24 vehicles are not frontline vehicles. Because of our storage capacity here, we store some of our backup fleet that we use in emergencies in other areas or when vehicles are down. So lots of vehicles here in Carroll. Our employees, you can see how we're set up. I have an assistant, a dispatcher, a service manager in town here. Full-time drivers in Carroll, we have 7. We have them around the county. We have full-time driver in Coon Rapids. We have 2 down in Manning and the rest here in Carroll. Statistical information, you can see our total expense and total ridership down on the bottom there. Again, these are for the rides described by Rick earlier, seniors and people with disabilities that aren't associated with any other contracts. They come in from all over the county. If you look at the rides and the total cost here, the cost of rides seems a little high, but you gotta remember a lot of those rides are coming in from 20 or 30 miles away. So at the bottom there, what we do with the capital match. The match that Carroll County contributed last year paid for a piece of 3 vehicles, 2 light-duty buses and 1 MV1 that are stationed in Carroll. So the money went to good use. So we were badly in need of new vehicles last year, and we took care of that with a couple light-duty buses and 1 MV1. So.
And we pay 15% of the cost of a new vehicle.
Yes.
And so, and new MV1 is in the neighborhood of 45,000.
Yeah, or a little higher. A light-duty bus now is $77,000 a year, so, when I started, like Rick said, those buses were in the $50,000 range, so, like everything else, costs went up. And as always, if you have any questions about any of our services or anything like that, don't hesitate to call me, so.
John, one question as far as the MCOs and the cost on these rides, how is that, the billing on that, is that going all right for you, or is there kind of a lag there?
Well, just when you think you have everything under control, they change everything. You know, AmeriHealth left the state, clients are shifting from one MCO to the other, billing systems are changing, so, a little bit of turmoil right now, a little bit of uncertainty, so. But we'll work through it just like we did last time.
Right.
We'll make it work.
Our 5 cents to 6 cents increase on transportation is for vehicles, basically, is that correct?
It's for it goes into what we call a capital match fund.
Okay.
When we're eligible to purchase new vehicles, it goes to the 15% that we have to pay on those vehicles.
So for a $50,000 vehicle, we pay $7,500.
Which is a good buy. I thought it would be kind of offset by the low price of gas and things like that, because we aren't paying expensive gas and everything.
Gas is on the operations side.
Yeah.
And that is where that 2 cents per capita in the requested donation above would go towards that. And it's true, I mean, we haven't had as much gas cost in the last couple of years, and there are years that we'll budget for it to be a little fatter, but there was also the year that we didn't budget for it to be as much of an increase it was gonna be, so as the economy goes, it's, as you know, you set your budget up at the beginning of the year.
And the other thing there is, in the next 2 to 3 months, you're gonna see a 20 to 30 cent increase in gas. It's coming.
Well, you're just bastion of happiness today.
Thanks, Marty.
Beware.
Yes. Happy Monday.
Thanks
So-
for the explanation.
How much of a total increase is this from last year then? Dollar-wise?
Okay, let's go, it'd be 200 at the top, 400 for transit is about 6. The capital match over what, if it was 2,200 this year to 18, because that's based on where we think the ridership is gonna be, that would be 1,600. Some of that is just because of increased ridership, it isn't due to that full penny increase, because a penny isn't gonna increase it, 60, 70%. But that would be, so there's that amount, and that'd be it. Because the 21,000 is a one-time special project, and the COG Housing Trust Fund is the same. So if you look at that full 1,600, just under $3,000. Some of which, isn't really an increase, some of which fluctuates with mileage.
Great.
Plus the 21,000 for the revolving loan.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. So that would be an increase over the amount, but that's
One-time thing.
right, previous commitment.
Any other questions for Tom or Rick? Okay, good job. Well done. Thank you.
Thank
for
you,
your time.
everyone.
Done already?
Thank you, guys.
So Chrissy got off easy. Okay, any words from Mike? That one? I guess with that, we'll go down to number 5, recorder's office discussion.
I did do a little checking, I think, was it Eugene that asked me to see how we kind of handled it before, I'll find my sheet here. Have my stuff in order when I'm supposed to do it. So, looks like when we did the sheriff, the board indicated that they were going to make an appointment. It was their decision on that. We published a public notice of intent to appoint the sheriff. There's no names, there's no anything, but just that that's what the board was going to do on such and such a date. So that's what you would have to choose to do at this point, is make a public notice of your intent. Do you intend to appoint, or do you intend to conduct a special election? And then I would get that published in the paper this week. And then,
14
when we
days.
get to the 29th, which would be like a few days before the retirement, that's when you would either, if you were going to make the appointment, you could do so by resolution at that time. But, of course, if you elect to do a special election, you wouldn't have to do anything more after that, but. So that's how we handled the sheriff when he recently retired.
So we probably do it the same way then, right? Because you,
I would recommend that because that's following the code.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought, there was a lag in there.
But yeah, when I'm looking through here, it does not state that you intended to appoint Ken Pingree. It just says that you intend to make an appointment.
I think him, let them provide notice to the public what your
What
intention
your
Yes.
intentions are.
And then when you get to the 29th, you would pass a resolution naming the appointee at that point.
And we'd have to wait till then, right?
Yeah.
I would recommend it because
14
you want to
days.
make the appointment before it's vacant. And that would be the closest meeting to that. And you can make the appointment effective 2/1 or whatever it needs to be.
Any discussion there?
Before we go down that road, I want to go down the road of doing a special election. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I know it's been done in the past, that we appoint, the person gets it. That's been going on for years and years and years. I think maybe it's time to stop that. And the only way to stop that is to go to special. And these are the reasons why. If it's important enough to put on the election in November, it's important enough to put on the ballot in January. That's number one. Number two, if you do an appointment, we most likely will have to hire an employee to take over. That employee could be terminated at the end of the year. That's not real fair to one person. That is a hardship that's been put on us, and we're trying to deal with it. I wish we would have finished the term. It would have made it smoother, easier, and better for all. I think we have two very good qualified candidates. I think it's awful hard to appoint when you don't do job interviews. If we're gonna do appointments, then I think us as the Board of Supervisors should all get together and push for abolishing all the heads and just have us do all the appointments. If that's the route we want to keep going. It just doesn't seem like if we're gonna keep kicking the can down the road, we're gonna continue to have these issues. Because no matter who's elected, they're always gonna be in a period of time that I'm going to retire this year, but yet my term doesn't end till next year or the year after. We're always gonna be faced with that. And if we don't decide to go start taking them to special election, I understand they cost $10,000. I get that. I didn't create the problem, I'm just trying to fix it in the most fair way. That's how my opinion about it. And like I said, I just think we need to have that discussion before we go right straight to making the appointment process work.
Dean, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I'll just go. Well, we were asked on, I think, the first meeting of the year, the question was pointed to us, do we have any goals for our budget? And my comment was that we provide services to the county in a matter that is fiscally responsible. And I think this is a matter that's fiscally responsible. I think this applies here, simply because our goal is to make the county run as smoothly as possibly. And to have a qualified candidate in place, an appointment would seem to me to be the most logical thing to do. It's been done in the past, and to be quite honest with you, I think it's been a pretty smooth situation. We've had no problems ever doing that. I was only there for one, but in the past, when this has been done, it's always been a smooth transition. The offices run smoothly. And I think that is also what I think you would say is an obligation to the supervisors to make sure that that happens as well. That's all I have to say.
Neil?
Well, as I previously stated, I think Maryland caused a problem or the situation by not fitting the term she's elected to. Enough said about that. Conjecture that was made for political reasons. So we have a no-win situation, either appointing anyone, or having a special election. It's a no-win situation for us. Normally, I would not take action such as a special election that would cost our citizens money. I think in this situation, putting Maryland's recommendation in particular will create a special election anyhow, so it's no money savings. So I agree with Dean on one thing for sure, that is continuity is important. And that kind of goes along with what Rich said. I think whoever is elected during a special election will probably win the final election. There's no reason they won't. And that will maintain continuity in the office and in continuity, as Rich said, in employment of the office. So I would favor a special election. And it's not going to cost any more money than having Maryland's appointment. Besides, and someone mentioned this earlier, that I don't think one person should, I appreciate her appointment. It speaks well of Kathy. But I don't think one person should determine the fate of this, of the county. I appreciate her appointment. I think if she's decided to retire, as a matter of fact, an appointment is okay, or a suggestion for appointment is okay to give us a lead. I don't know. That's about all I have to say about it.
Okay, Gene?
I will tell you that I've had a very wide array of discussions with different people, from attorneys to funeral directors in this subject. And everybody is concurrent with me that we appoint for the continuity of the office. And I think at this point of the game, it is only wise to do the appointment. The special election is a cost that I think is unnecessary to the taxpayers. If they want to call us a special election, that's their prerogative. I'm in favor of the appointment. I think it's just a waste. I would have a different feeling if it was the beginning of the term. But at this point, I think it's totally a waste. And I'm in favor of a special or appointment. But, like I said, I had a lot of discussions, and everybody concurs with my thoughts. Like I said, that was from a wide array of people, and I had phone calls while I was in Ankeny this weekend. My son couldn't even believe I was getting calls in the middle of the day, but that's what you are when you're elected. So I'm definitely in favor of an appointment.
I've had a lot of discussion heard a lot from other people, so lawyers, the funeral directors, bankers, people out in the street. Even went as far as, we talked a little bit about combining the offices, talked to a gentleman from the Grundy County Recorder's Office. Also visited with Marshall County about the combining with other offices. The response I got there was no way. They said all they did is created an office administrator, and it isn't working. And so that definitely is off the table. I too am in favor of the appointment. I look at history. When Joan retired, Courtney was appointed. When Bernice Williams left, Peggy Weidel was appointed. When Peggy Weidel left, Jean was appointed. When Doug Bass left, Ken Pingery was appointed. I don't think the system is broke. The other thing I look at is continuity. When I talk to the lawyers and the bankers and those people, Kathy has got the experience of 10 years. We don't want to lose that. And I had one lawyer in particular on Saturday that called me and said, do not let that go. He said, you will have an outrage if you do, from the bankers and lawyers and title companies. So I too am in favor of the special election. Or
Special election?
Not special election, but the appointment. Excuse me.
I will add one thing. I have sat down and visited with both parties. I've done my own, you're talking about doing job interviews. I basically sat down with the same line of questions, and I've done that already. I'll admit they're probably both good candidates.
So I want to address a couple things. Continuity doesn't float with me because every 4 years you could change. That's on the ballot every 4 years. So continuity is nothing but more, probably going to get in trouble for this, it's more selfishness because they're catching mistakes that these other people are making. And that's part of their job. I understand that. And they do a very good job at it. But I think there are a lot of people that can do that well. So I think they're trying to make it easy on themselves. The continuity thing doesn't completely fly with me. Every 4 years, we can change this. I just think this is a time to, and I hear Marty's argument about it's been happening in the past and happening in the past, but it's just gonna continue and continue and continue until you draw a line in the sand, and you've got to do that sooner or later.
Well, and I
Because
think,
one person winds up making the vote, the choice, one person.
no, every 4 years, like you say, they're up for reelection, so it's not that case. It's not that way. It's gonna, it would, if you appointed
No.
today.
But it becomes political,
Mm.
and it puts an incumbent mark right beside their name, which gives them trump card after trump card
And-
when you step in the booth.
In reality, matter of fact, has incumbent ever not been reelected? So giving someone the incumbency is giving them a tremendous advantage.
It's a huge advantage.
Well, and I don't, for the welfare of the county, and for the benefit of the county, for the taxpayers, for the benefit of the taxpayers, I don't think that is a bad situation. These are complex offices. The treasurer and the auditor and the recorder are complex offices. So to have somebody who has no idea what to do when they're going, and it has happened in the past, and in an appointment, and that individual did not last very long because the person didn't have a clue what was going on. And so I think that set the benchmark for the future, that we don't want that to happen again.
And I will say this, we've done this in the past, and it has not, I don't think politics should even enter this, because the last one we did switched different parties.
And I've heard this, don't let politics be part of it, but the retirement was done for politics.
Well, that I don't know. But
So-
we can't argue that point. I don't know what the situation's on the other side. But I will tell you this, all those conversations that I had over the last couple of weeks, a lot of them were Republicans.
I've heard from
That
both
very
sides
much
too.
were supportive of the appointment.
I've heard the same thing.
And me too. We probably heard from the same people,
Yeah.
to be quite honest with you.
Pretty much, I bet everybody's heard from the
Yeah.
same.
I guess I look at it this way, guys, if we do the appointment, if the petition comes before us to do the special elections, we have to follow that process. But I think we need to start somewhere. And the appointment process is where we need to start.
If there's no other discussion, I would make a motion that we appoint and set the notice that our intention is to appoint.
I would second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
3-2 vote. So we will move forward with the publication. Okay, with that, we'll go down to the next item on the agenda. Is Mike Freeney's not here yet with the comp board? I hope he shows up.
hope he
Hope
does
he
too.
doesn't.
I get concerned about, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
Let me
something
go
must have
check
come
and
up.
see if she got a hold of it.
Because we talked to him about putting him first.
They've been calling him and leaving messages for him, he's not answering.
Okay, there's your answer.
Because he wanted to be first.
So is there
I
a
can remember him
fight
saying that.
But we're hoping
for that committee?
Well,
Yes, yeah, there is.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm sure Mike has a letter, so. Okay.
Okay, with that, we'll go down to item number 6, as far as the resolution naming depositories. That's in our packet.
Morning, Gene.
Morning.
I gave you all a copy.
Mm, yeah.
What we did, okay. Annual resolution naming depository, I have no changes in this from the last time it was in effect. The same, I'm looking at the same maximum balance for each of the banks that we do banking with. So, no changes. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
There are no questions or comments, we need a motion to
I'll
approve.
move that we approve the resolution naming depositories.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second, it's a resolution, so it's roll call.
Dancer?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
Motion carries. Need Marty's signature on that.
Okay, got that one done. With that, we'll go down to item number 7, is the tax abatement.
Okay, I made copies of each of these three proposed tax abatements. The first one I have is for the city of Manning, and that is a property that the city has owned. It should have been classified as exempt property because they use it for their burn pile,
Yeah.
and it missed that classification. And when it rolled over to me, we taxed it because it was not listed as exempt. So I'm asking now to abate those taxes, and
These individual.
Can we do it all in one
Oh.
swoop or one at a time?
we can do them all at one time unless
Okay,
there's
nope.
a problem with that for you.
Okay.
Second
Well,
one. oh,
then they should be all listed in the same resolution, shouldn't they?
Resolution number, I think that would be true.
There's no resolution numbers on these.
It doesn't make any difference to me, it's however you wanna handle it.
Yeah, I'd probably better do them individually since they're on individual sheets, but
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement for the Manning, city of Manning, on their abatement.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second, resolution, roll call.
Dancer?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
Motion carries. Pass that out.
Okay, second one is a mobile home owned by Claudette Jane. And this may sound familiar to you. It was an abatement that was, we had done an abatement, asked for an abatement last year on this. It's a mobile home that no longer exists. And you did approve the abatement last year, but it was not stricken from the tax roll. So it's just a matter of procedure. We're going to strike it from the tax roll again with your approval and abate those taxes.
I'll move that we approve the second abatement resolution.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second, any other discussion? That's a resolution, we'll do roll call.
Dancer?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the last one is the county home. Every year in April, I usually ask for you to abate these taxes, but I had a request from the assessor this year to move this up earlier because I think one of these parcels is being split, so the taxes have to be either reduced to zero through payment, suspension, or abatement. So I'm asking you now to abate these taxes for the county home, so she can split this parcel.
So this isn't just the county home, it's also the county farm?
Well, for 2016 taxes, if we're collecting 2016, this is this was the county home in 2016.
So this is, but Gene, I think
It
Gene's
is also
question
the
was,
farm, don't you?
it's also the farm as well.
It's all four
Parcels, yeah.
parcels that you've abated in the past, so.
It's the home site, or the building site, and then also the farm ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
And
what I
I'm
thought.
asking to abate them for 2016, and then she'll go in and the assessor will do her splits,
Okay.
process her splits accordingly.
I'll make that motion to abate those taxes
I'll
for
second
Carroll
that.
County.
Okay, got a motion and a second, any other discussion? No, we got roll call?
Dancer?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
Motion carries. Pass this
Thank
Have
you.
we-
Thank you.
Gene, I got a question for you.
Yes,
Have we done any more on space needs?
no. I'm looking at it, but I don't have anything ready, nothing prepared. So I'm still working on it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Gene.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, with that, we've sent the mic yet, so we'll go down to number 8, is to approve the plats. We got 2 plats here today.
I think both these are just retracements, aren't they?
I'll
That's
make
right,
one
looks
is
to me.
next to you and the other one is at
Yeah.
the Muggen
Well, I mean-
one.
Yeah.
This is the second time this one's been here, right?
Yeah, I was here last time too. I thought we approved it once.
Which one?
The first one.
No, the first one.
But did they have a change on, do you remember?
No, it's just retracement, because that's what Carl said. I mean, it doesn't look any different to me than,
Than
It
last time.
came
Yeah,
through
than
the
last
system
time.
again, so I think we should approve it. I don't know if there was minor changes in the legal, or if it, I don't know.
For some dimension that we missed. I'll make a motion to approve the 2 plots as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, with that, we'll go down to item number 9, is to approve the payables.
I see our piece of equipment we bought is on there already. Yeah, the Bear, that thing, Bear, 8,000, correct amount. Other than that, I didn't really see any, of course, medical exams high.
Yeah.
It's
been going
In the
up.
past, did they have them, is he listing these just separate, that they got all them itemized items in there? Or did they change the way they're billing it?
Are you looking at the medical exam now?
Yeah.
I think these were 2 unusual situations, as I
Yeah,
recall.
when they get sent to the state like that, we've got.
But I mean, in the past, we just got a lump sum, didn't we?
Yeah,
Oh.
usually,
Well, I thought they would buy the first
but
one
this,
before, wasn't
I
it?
guess it makes more
itemized
sense to me if I can see
Wasn't
that
it
they did all
itemized
those
before?
testings.
Well, it's more itemized now.
Yeah, if you just look at an autopsy and you're like, wow, it's that expensive, you'll be able to see that there was a reason for that. There's a lot of, I don't know. It might be just who entered the claim too. The person that entered the claim might have broken it down. I
That's
don't
what
know.
which is all right, at least shows you. But
Yeah, and, that, we're gonna have to do a budget amendment on the medical examiner. 'Cause
He warned us about that. that it
I
was
believe that
getting out
we're
of hand.
about out of funds in that department because we just have a lot of autopsies, a lot of them. And it's only January.
Yeah. That,
Well, hopefully that's it.
gosh, I
Hey,
hope
that'd
so,
be
but
awesome.
that would be. But I have a feeling there'll be a few more.
No suspicious
that
deaths.
is one thing you
No,
can't predict.
that's good news.
You can predict that we'd only buy the life insurance at last minute, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'll make a motion to approve the
I'll
payables.
second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Can
same
we buy
sign.
a blanket policy on our constituent? Can we buy a blanket policy on our constituents?
I bet that wouldn't be cheap.
I bet it wouldn't
I
either.
bet you.
You'd probably buy one, but.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody would sell you one.
Guess we have to wait on the number 10, so then I guess we'll go down to number 11 till hear anything from Mike. That will go down to, the number 11 is the manure management annual updates. We got 4 of those today. The first one was for Al Friedman, section 27, Eden Township. There's no changes on that one. The second one is Ivan Helber, section 15 of Washington Township. No changes on that plan. The third one is Venner 2, Finisher Farm, Falcon Farms LLC, section 30 of Sac Township, Sac County, and that one's an original plan. And then the fourth one is Benner One Finisher Farm, Falcon Farms LLC, Section 2 in Wheatland Township, and that's also an original plan. So that's it for the winter management plans for today. With that, we'll go down to committee reports, I guess. Rich, you wanna start off?
Yeah, let me take my, I don't think I had much of anything. We had the comp board meeting. Let's go back. Yes, we had the comp board meeting last Tuesday night, and other than that, I didn't have anything. This week I have, as we all do, budget meetings today, tomorrow, and then we have ISAC on Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. I don't have anything in front of me right now, so.
Dean, thanks, Rich.
Last week I had the compensation board meeting on Tuesday night, and then I participated in the Highway 30 conference call on Thursday. I would say that it's probably more of just reaching out to individuals. There were 5 new members of the Cedar Rapids City Council. So James Hauser, who is the Lynn County supervisor, was on the phone, and he said he would contact those individuals and get them on board. There was let's see if I can cover more of. I don't think there was really anything. David Rose was not on as the commissioner. So there was just an update on Highway 30, which was just a repeat from last time. Dates that are coming up, they're going to meet with the Ames Rotary on January 22nd. February 20th is Highway 30 Day at the Capitol. They've got a room reserved there. They'll be meeting with Director Lowe, the governor, Stuart Anderson, and right at the end of the meeting, what's her name from Clinton County?
Edith.
Oh,
Edith. Edith brought up a bill that Bobby Kaufman's going to be introducing. I'm not sure exactly what it says, but it has to do with the overpasses on Interstate 80. The DOT anticipates increasing the lanes from 4 to 6 and 8 in some spots, and they will have to take out those overpasses, and they may replace them and they may not. Mostly the county roads will not be replaced unless they're paid for by the county to replace
You
them.
were saying most of them will have to be reimbursed, but repaid for by the county.
Yeah.
There was an article, you might not put in.
No, go ahead.
In the,
Tipton.
Tipton, said,
Yeah.
whatever. I tried to look that up, I couldn't find it.
Well, it sounds like we're gonna get it.
Yeah. But that's,
Yeah, that's a real, I mean, she said, I think she found out about it, they come and go at Timpton. She happened to be stopping in there and she ran into a farmer who was hauling grain across that interchange, and that was gonna go away. And he said his trucking firm runs 300 loads a day across that.
wow.
And he said that's gonna really impact him.
No kidding.
So, that debate is coming, I'm sure. So, that was it for that. The next conference call will be February 15th. And then that was it for my week. This week I've got Conservation Board meeting tonight. The 911 EMA budget meeting will be on Thursday night, and then Friday Director Lowe will be in Carroll. So we'll be meeting with him out at
And you You gotta do budget.
I'll do the noon thing, yeah, out at Region 12. So that's what I have going on.
Okay, thanks, Dean.
And I have the radio today, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thanks,
I have the
Dean.
radio today.
Okay. Dean's got his point across. Last week I had the compensation board meeting on Tuesday. And this week on Tuesday, I meet with John Burton, our county attorney. I meet with Carl Wilner, our GIS planning and zoning person. And I meet with Megan Owen, the home health director. And on Wednesday, I have Coalition Human Service and the local planning group meeting.
Okay. Thanks, Gene?
Last week, Tuesday, it had CADC. We went over our 3-year strategic plan, where we're at in that, went through that whole thing. And then at 1 o'clock, the Access Washington group met together, debating what we're gonna do this year. They're wanting us to go at a different time, so we're trying to find a different right week to go, and whether, what the topics that we're gonna have. So we may go with a smaller group, we may go with a larger group, we don't know, so. Okay, then I was also at the compensation board meeting. And then on Thursday, I also joined Dean with the Highway 30 meeting on by conference call. And then on Friday, I had budget meetings with the secondary roads with Marty and also with the Sheriff's Department. Then this week, I have a communications budget meeting here at 1 o'clock. 12 o'clock, yeah. And then I got ISAC Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday I have I'll be up at the Center in Carroll, or up at Cherokee. That's my week.
Okay, thanks, Gene. Last week I had Wesco board meeting, last Monday evening over in Denison. Some of the things we discussed there, the staff wage increase and the tier rates. We did approve up to $125,000 in salary increases, which amounts to about 50 cents an hour on the employees. And then we also had an update on the 2017 audit. When John Morrow was there last month, he had some issues as far as the credit cards. There wasn't enough verification. So Clay Adams, the director over there, is kind of working on getting that straightened out. And whenever somebody fills a vehicle with gas or whatever, they have to put the mileage and stuff on the receipt, and then what vehicle it was for. And so we kind of keep a better tab on what our expenses are for credit card charges. Also talked a little bit about the union contracts. We're going to be negotiating those here between this week and the February 15th. And basically the issues that'll come up there are the salaries and insurance for union contracts. We are in the process of getting bids from United Healthcare on Blue Cross Blue Shield. They are proposing a 12% increase for this coming year. So we're looking at getting bids there, and we work with Holmes Murphy in trying to get third parties there. And then on Tuesday evening, had the comp board meeting, and then Wednesday had signed checks at Region 12. Or Region 12 meeting last Thursday got canceled because we didn't have enough people for a quorum. And then on Friday, met with Secondary Roads and Sheriff with Gene, and then also went over to Denison that afternoon to sign some papers for Wesco on the Camelot Square for the HUD housing. So, and we got that all squared away. This week, at noon today, I had the Comm Center meeting with Gene, with the City of Carroll. And then tomorrow, meet with the department heads in the recorder's office, and then also in the treasurer's office. And then on Friday, we've got I'm hoping to be out at Region 12 for the meeting out there with Mark Lowe. And then also Maryland's retirement party is on Friday. So that's all I've got for this week. So with that, we'll turn it over to the first item on our agenda is the Carroll County Compensation Board Fiscal 19 Elected Officials Salary. Mike?
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
There's a few sheets here that I printed.
Thank you.
There we go. So the comp board met on the 15th. All of you guys were present, and I think that we felt like the
discussion that we had was best ever, as far as the open discussion that the board had. You know, we certainly talked about the flat percentages or trying to equalize maybe the positions. So set a plan next year for October 1 to at least throw out an email prior to the end of the year to the board to see if we wanted to have 1 or 2 or 3 meetings to talk about that at least. So with that, we felt like this year it was just kind of, we could lead into that 2 or 3 or 4. You know, it's a hard process, I think, and I think everybody realizes that. So the board did vote to recommend to the Carroll County Board of Supervisors 5% across the board raise. And so we certainly thank you, all of you, for your service. And we know it's not a easy thing to balance all the balls that you have in the air to get the budget to balance. So with that, I would entertain any questions or.
What was the vote?
Hmm?
What was the vote?
4 to 2.
Good discussion, though.
Mhm.
I really thought so too.
Yeah, I think everybody, we kind of got down to all of the hurdles that we need to try to jump. And that's gonna help if we can figure out how to get over them, that's the metric.
Yeah. And I think that's where we just kind of decided that we just didn't quite have enough time, you know.
I agree with Mike, there was good conversation there, and I'd like to thank the comp board for taking their time out, going through
Yes.
that. It's not an easy decision for you guys either.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, we commend all of our county officials that, you know, that we're trying to recommend this for. You know, the service in this county is excellent. And so, I mean, that's never any part of the discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
You bet.
Thank you, Mike.
Have a good day, stay
Yeah.
warm.
You too.
Yeah.
We shall. Forgot the donuts.
Oh, well, that was January.
Give it a month
Be
or
healthier.
two.
Want you guys along, you know, alive a lot longer.
Okay, got a question, Virginia?
Who represents the public in this decision? The comp board is for the elected officials. Who is for the public?
The
Say the
public.
Board of Supervisors, because they make the ultimate
But they're
final
part of the
decision.
comp board,
Who is?
the board of supervisors.
No, they
No.
aren't.
No.
They have a representative on the board, as does everyone, but they ultimately make the final decision.
The comp board meeting is open to the public if anybody wants to comment.
Yeah, that's what my comment is that it's open to the public. Anybody can be in attendance.
Yeah,
and
I've
make-
been to them, I know what they're like.
There wasn't anybody there this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was nobody from the public there.
That's because they're depending on us to make the correct decision.
That's right.
Do we need a motion to accept this letter?
I would recommend that, yes.
Okay, need a motion to accept the
I'll
comp
make a
board's?
motion, we accept the letter.
Okay, need a second?
I would second it, I would restate that to say that acknowledge receipt of the letter.
Yeah.
Sounds,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay, I'll second that then.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Okay, with that, so that's what I was gonna say, we've got about 5 minutes before our closed session. Do we wanna discuss, go down to item number 10 and discuss the 19 county employee salary?
Do we want to hear our insurance people first, or do we want to make a decision on the 5% first?
It's up to you guys, how do you wanna handle it? Or do we wanna wait till after the closed session? We can do a short recess if we want to.
Let's do that. I'd like to hear from the closed session first.
Okay, we'll just do a short recess and come back at 10 for the Closed
Closed
session?
session.